Good evening, everyone. It's now 6 p.m. We'll call the public meeting to order. It's Tuesday, September the 1st, 2026. And I would declare that all councilors are present for the public hearing. In a public hearing, the council's role is to hear staff presentation as well as comments from the public on the file and information presented. There will be no debate. However, any member of council may ask questions of clarification of either the staff or of the public. So the only item of business this evening is an application to rezone 2 vacant parcels located on Mayhew Drive, PIDS 55552772 and 55552780, Greenwood, from the residential 1 unit R1 zone to residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone to permit the development of semi-detached dwellings. Melissa Chunick, our planner, will be presenting. So, Ms. Chunick, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, Council. So as mentioned, I'll be presenting a planning application involving a request to rezone PIDS 5552772 and 55552780, which are 2 adjacent properties on Mayhew Drive in Greenwood. This application proposes to amend the maps of the land use bylaw to rezone the properties outlined in yellow from the residential 1 unit R1 zone to the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone to permit semi-detached dwellings on each lot. While the rezonings are being processed concurrently as they are adjacent lots and under the same ownership, each parcel is still a separate entity, meaning the proposal is for a 2 unit or semi-detached on each lot. So this is a map of the entire municipality. The red arrow and circle on the left-hand side of the screen indicates the approximate location of the subject sites within Greenwood. So this is the application process for rezoning applications, and in particular the process for this application. Staff first received a completed application, and usually when an application involves an amendment to the land use bylaw, a public information meeting would be required. But in this case, both properties are under 1 acre in size, and so a meeting is not required. As there was no public information meeting, the staff review began right away, which involves sending out notification letters to the public, sending requests for comment letters to various internal and external departments, and writing a report to the Planning Advisory Committee. Also during the staff review, staff presented the application to the Greenwood Village Commission as the properties fall within the village boundary. Staff then presented a report to the Planning Advisory Committee in June, who made a positive recommendation to Council. At first reading with Council in July, Council voted to authorize this public hearing. Prior to the public hearing, staff again sent out notification letters to members of the public, notifying them of the opportunity to speak tonight, and ads were posted on the municipal social media page and web page. So that brings us tonight to where we are currently at the public hearing. Following the public hearing tonight is the second reading later this evening, where Council can either vote to approve or deny the application. And following the decision made by Council, there is a 14-day appeal period in which an appeal can be made regardless of the decision. So this is an aerial image of both sites outlined in red. The dividing line is just this kind of faint white dashed line here. Both properties are the same size with 7,495 square feet in area, and both with 50 feet of road frontage on Mayhew Drive. So this is the map showing the zoning of the general area. Every property that is located on Mayhew Drive, aside from those on the corner of Mayhew and Bulby Park Drive, are a residential use within the residential 1 unit R1 zone. The properties to the rear of the subject properties, or on the left-hand side of your screen, are within the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone, and these contain residential units of 1 or 2 units and a place of worship. The property adjacent and to the north of the subject properties in the residential 1 unit R1 zone is a neighborhood park, and the property zoned under mixed commercial residential C3 is are vacant properties owned by the village of Greenwood. With regards to access to the subdivision, access is via Bridge Street and then to Bowlby Park Drive, which is primarily a commercial industrial park consisting of uses such as self-storage, automotive-related uses, and professional trades. There's only one exit and entrance to the subdivision, as Mayhew Drive loops down just kind of out of view in the screen and then connects back with itself. And so this is a comparison between the uses permitted in the current residential 1-unit zone versus the proposed residential 1 and 2 unit zone. 4 units are already permitted in the residential 1-unit zone, but this would be through a 1-unit dwelling, 2 secondary suites, and an accessory dwelling. And so the built form is controlled by those unit types and their applicable regulations. The proposed rezoning to the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone would allow for a new built form, and in the case of this application, would allow for a 2-unit dwelling on each property or a semi-detached on each, which would require further subdivision in the future. So this is the future land use designation map. The sites and surrounding area are within the residential designation as shown in yellow. The general area also includes sites which are designated as commercial and industrial to the north. Designations identify what land can be used for, meaning it determines which zones and types of uses could be permitted in the area if changes are proposed to be made and what those changes can be. And so this is a potential resolution map that shows what the zoning would look like if the application would be approved. So both properties would reflect the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone, meaning each property could utilize the uses of that zone because, as I mentioned, they are still separate parcels. So staff visited the sites in April with the owner. The next few slides are a few photos showing the properties. I don't have a marker showing the division between the two, but this is looking from the front lot lines of both properties and just showing the incline and grade. The use on the left is a residential dwelling, and the use on the right of the properties is that neighborhood park. These photos are looking towards the right property and looking from the adjacent park, and again, just showing kind of the slope and the grade of the properties. And these photos are looking at Mayhew Drive from the subject site. So the photo on the top is looking further into the subdivision, and the photo on the bottom is looking at towards the entrance of the subdivision at Bowlby Park Drive. And this is just another aerial from pictometry to visualize the two properties in the context of the area. The red outline is just to show that dividing line between the two. So as mentioned, a public information meeting was not required because the properties are both under an acre in size. That being said, in the beginning of the process, we do still send out notification letters to notify surrounding neighbors of the application. So 32 property owners within 500 feet of both properties were notified of the application via letter mail. In addition, the Village of Kingston and Annapolis County were also notified as they are within 5 kilometers of the site. So following the notification letters, staff received 3 emails from the public. One email was in support of growth for the area, but did note concerns regarding traffic and safety. The other 2 emails were an objection to the application and noted concerns of traffic as the subdivision only has the one exit and entrance, concerns that the character of the neighborhood will change, that property values will decrease if these units are rentals, and concern of crime if these units are rented by low-income families or are subsidized housing. With regards to traffic concerns, staff sent the application to the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works for comment as they are the owner of Mayhew Drive, and they did not have any concerns regarding the application. They did provide standards for when an access permit would be requested by the applicant if this application would be approved. With regards to property value, this is not part of the staff review as property values are determined by the Property Valuation Services Corporation. And in addition, the municipality does not regulate who properties are sold or rented to. So as part of the staff review, this application was presented to the Greenwood Village Commission in April of this year. The commission did not have any questions or comments on the application. So the municipal planning strategy contains policies that allow council to consider a rezoning application. We call this enabling policy. In this case, policy 5.3.3 enables council to consider this application. The municipal planning strategy has a list of zones that can move within any designation. And as mentioned, designations are a broad category that identify what land can be used for, and if changes are proposed to be made, what those changes can be, meaning they determine how rezonings can occur. And so as both the current zoning of residential 1 unit R1 and the proposed zoning of residential 1 and 2 unit R2 are within the residential designation. This means the municipal planning strategy does not prohibit the rezoning of the land within this designation. As part of the policy review, staff also review policy 5.3.5, which outlines criteria that must be met when considering an application to rezone land. And this includes zone placement policies, the impact of the proposal, the impact of other possible uses the proposed zone permits, and general criteria. In this case, the proposed zone placement is ideal as it meshes with the existing residential nature of the surrounding properties while utilizing existing services. Further, the sites are ideally located with regards to amenities that support residential uses, such as transportation and recreation space. The proposal does not propose a higher number of units than what is already permitted, but instead proposes a new form of housing. In addition, the proposed rezoning does not increase the range of permitted non-residential uses allowed on the land. And also as part of the policy review, staff review the general criteria, which is policy 5.3.7. Council has established this criteria to ensure that a proposal is appropriate and consistent with the strategy. So the following table outlines who the assessing authority is for each criteria piece specific to this application. The county is the primary reviewer for the majority of the criteria, aside from where jurisdiction changes. So this could be determining if the proposal could create traffic hazards or congestion. As mentioned, this was reviewed by the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works. Adequacy for fire protection was assessed by the Kingston Fire Chief, and they explained there are no concerns with the proposal. And then as for sewer and water services, as this can change based on where properties are located, in this case it is municipal sewer and water, and the municipality's engineering and public works department provided confirmation the system can handle the proposed rezoning. So with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Chunick. Just to explain to the public once again, council sits in a quasi-judicial capacity for the public hearings, and so it doesn't engage in debate and doesn't argue with the presenter. It is necessary, however, that everyone has a good sense of what's being presented. So we go to the questions first of clarification. So is there any misunderstandings of any part of this presentation from any counselor? So, does any counselor have any questions to Ms. Chunick? No, I guess it was clear as mud then. Thank you. We'll then move on to the public. So, is there any member of the public that would like to address council on this matter? We would please ask you to come to the mic, state your name and address for the record. As a reminder, there is a 5-minute maximum time limit per speaker. Please address your comments to council and not to the presenter. So, at this time, if any member of the public would like to come forward, we would invite you to come to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors. I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me. My name's Graham Teamby. I live at 1231 Mayhew Drive, which is the property right next door.
Okay, thank you.
When the developer first approached me with the idea of building a home next door, it was a fully forested area. He took me next door and he said, "What trees would you like to keep for privacy?" So I pointed out a bunch of trees. I asked, "What kind of building are you thinking of building there?" He said it's going to be a single pad rancher with a garage between your house and the property being built. Apparently all that was a load of not truth, because now it's rezoning. I understand that property developers are out to try and make as much money as they can, and they can make more money with 2 properties than 1. But the R2 zoning, I don't know if you can pull that up for me, the R2 map shows the R2 there, which is all forested. So my property is it's got privacy. When the logger came in to clear cut the property, I said, could you please save this tree, and this tree for privacy? Because if you can go back to the map that shows the homes, the topographical map, not that one there, that's my swimming pool, and that's my home. He clear-cutted everything, and I asked the logger, I said, could you please save some for privacy? He said, nah, he told me just to get rid of the lot. I'm not saving any trees here. So I have no privacy at all. And what guarantees are there that there's going to be privacy? I mean, I understand that, like I say, it's going to be out to make money, but there's no R2 zoning in the whole of the neighbourhood. Why would we change it now just so one property developer can make more money? It's an R1 zoned neighbourhood, it's a cul-de-sac. And it'll affect me directly because of privacy. When we're in the pool or in the back garden, now we've got two families which are now going to be overlooking where I'm going to be. So I don't know if he's building a 2-story building, a 1-story building. What was going to be a single pad and a rancher is now turned into a duplex. Is it clear as mud? Pretty much figures it out. I don't know anything. Right. And it is as clear as mud. I can't see through mud. and there's no clarity to what actually is being built. So I would like to suggest that we don't rezone it. Make him stick to what he said in the first place. It's going to be a single pad rancher with a garage in between, and keep the aesthetics of the neighbourhood the same as what it is all the way through, instead of having to change it at the very entrance, where the first thing people are going to see. I mean, I don't care about low-income housing and the crime and all that. That's hypothetical, and it's not even reality, maybe. And the storage units there create so much extra traffic, I don't even know if that could be a point. Although we do need a 3-way stop coming out of Bridge Street, because you just cannot turn left coming out of Mayhew Drive there on Bowlby Park. So, is there any clarity to what he's building? Do we know what he's building? Because I don't, and I'm the guy living next door, because everything he told me he was going to do isn't the truth. And it just seems a little, it doesn't seem right to me. And I think that's about that.
Okay, well, we thank you for coming and stating your case tonight. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. The comments, I don't know why anybody invented clear as mud, because
I don't get that bit
mud's
either.
not very clear.
Yeah. And I don't have my T's crossed and my I's dotted like this young lady here, because I'm not sure me standing here is going to change everybody's point of view or pre-made decision. But it just seems a little odd to me that why change it for one property in the whole of the neighbourhood? It just doesn't seem right.
No, I appreciate your comments. I will ask the staff person afterwards, but I suspect that we cannot, even if we wanted to, make anyone stick to building a single-family dwelling with a garage. And in fact, I think, and Melissa can correct me if I'm wrong, that even if the zoning doesn't change, somebody can build 4 units there either way. So, you know, and if it's already cleared, unfortunately you can't go back and put the trees back that quick.
And I understand buying a house next door to an empty lot, they're going to develop there. And I'd be a fool to think they wouldn't.
And unfortunately, people do have the right, I guess, at the end of the day, to change their mind too. They may plan to build a single house with a garage and then decide afterwards.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But their mind could be made up a lot easier if you don't rezone it.
Yeah. But we appreciate you stating your case in a respectful manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we've taken the notes, and afterwards I'll be asking council and staff if they want to comment.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Melissa. Hello, Melissa. I live at 1238 Mayhew Drive, so I'm across the street. My particular, the reason why I'm here actually is because I wanted to bring to light the information that she brought forward that we're a cul-de-sac, so we only have one entrance and one exit. And there are 7 businesses on Boldley Park that are commercial. 7 of them are active, including the storage unit that is now building another out of 4. There's now gonna, or I think there's 4 and there's gonna be 5, and they have going to build another, like there's more that are coming. So 7 businesses, including an arborist, a mechanic, a car wash, an insurance company, on one entrance, including the fact that Bridge Street itself, many of you must go through Greenwood, so you know it is actually logistically the only road between the 2 villages. And with the incoming influx of the military personnel, that road in itself needs to be considered in the future about how the towns collectively are going to work. And we are directly affected by that, not only for the 7 commercial businesses on this tiny cul-de-sac, but also then the turning left feature, or turning right even, is not a safe environment for people to get out of Bridge Street, because not only on either side is blind corners. There's a bridge that is a blind entrance, and then there is, from the Bible school over on Bridge Street, a blind entrance. So in both cases, it is actually becoming, even though it's a small space with only however many residents, and I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. There's only so many residents on our street. When you have a zoning of 2 houses, that's potentially 6, 8 more people added to our cul-de-sac, including the commercial businesses that are continuing to grow. And so overall, the safety of the residents isn't really being considered, even if the fire chief says it's safe. There could be an accident on Bridge Street and someone needs to get to us, and we all see how construction on the bridge totally stopped our access. So in consideration of our cul-de-sac, I think it needs to be considered as a whole, a bigger picture, that we have way more people coming to our area, and it's not just about Boldley Park, it's about the whole village of Greenwood and Kingston as a whole. So I respectfully ask that when we are zoning these properties, that we consider that the people need to be able to get out and actually live their life and be in the town as a whole in a safe environment. And that's my piece.
Thank you, Melissa. And for somebody that was nervous, you did very well.
Thank you.
Thank
also,
you.
double sidewalk on Bridge Street.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. I'm Margaret Reed. I'm at 1170 Mayhew Drive. Have been there 30 plus years. So from a personal perspective, when we decided to make this huge investment of buying a home, we did a lot of research and a lot of homework on the neighborhood that we were going to buy in. And we looked at things like green belts and bylaws and zoning and all of those things, and bought based upon the research we did. And one of those things was certainly that these were single dwellings, single family dwellings, and that's the type of neighborhood we wanted to live in. So now we're blindsided by the idea that our subdivision would be changed completely based on this rezoning. And from what I understand, once we rezone for even 2 individual properties, we're rezoning the whole area. So 2 dwelling home or 2 family homes, semi-detached homes, can be built anywhere in the subdivision at this point. So any home can become a 2-family home. So we're looking at a complete change in what we all signed up for. So I feel it's not fair to move ahead with such a proposal that is totally changing everything we had counted on as being what our subdivision was going to be. So I'm not sure if I can request that this rezoning not happen, or if that's the point of what I'm saying. We know that, I know that this will change our property value, and I know we talked about, the presenter talked about how that's basically neither here nor there for this particular hearing. It's certainly here nor there for us, for the owners who currently live in Bowlby Park. We know that it will completely change, one, how people look at the subdivision if they're considering buying in that area, and two, the perception. It's irrelevant who lives in these new dwellings, but the perception of a rental area as a place of choice, a neighborhood of choice. So for those reasons, I would love to express my concerns for this rezoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address council on this matter? No one else? I don't want to rush it if someone wants to. Okay, I want to, before I ask Melissa for whether she has any comments, and then we'll go to council who may have comments. I want to say it's really nice when people come here, whether you get what you want or you don't get what you want, to express your concerns in a respectful manner. That does mean a lot to us, whether or not it passes or doesn't pass. It's we really do appreciate that, and you've done that, and stated clearly that you would prefer not to see it. We understand that. Melissa, did you have any comments that you would like to make on the comments that were made by the public?
Yeah, I have a couple quick comments, and I think Laura does as well. So just to kind of provide a bit more clarification on the proposed rezoning. So yeah, as mentioned, the current zoning of residential 1 unit R1 does allow those 4 units, and the form would basically look like 1 main dwelling, 2 secondary suites, so 2 other units within that structure, and then 1 accessory dwelling. So that's another separate structure. And then the proposed rezoning is to allow for the possibility for the 2 unit or semi-detached. And then so that's basically just allowing for a different built form, but ultimately the number of permitted kind of units stays the same. And in terms of the site plan, we don't request a site plan just because we are reviewing the policy rather than the built form. And so site plan would happen at time of permitting if it were to progress to that. And I think Laura has probably some additional comments as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Laura, who is our acting director of planning. Laura, you had some comments?
Just one, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to council. I just wanted to clarify one point that one of the members of the public made. This application is to rezone these 2 properties only. These would be the only 2 properties that would be rezoned. The rest of the street would remain in the R1 zone.
Okay, thank you. And now Councillor Lutz, who is our chair of our planning committee, has a comment or a question. Counselor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to the planner, just if you could help me visualize semi-detached. So I'm, oftentimes we speak in planning terms and are describing built form versus density, and that can seem really abstract. So I'm curious, I understand if you go back to the picture with the 2 lots. So you were saying that you could put a building, like a main dwelling with 2 rental units in it plus the main unit, right? So 3 within one structure and an outside additional dwelling. So and then you said, or it could just be like a semi-detached, and that would still be 4 units but in a different built form. Can you describe what a semi-detached might look like? Because I think that's where I'm getting lost here.
Melissa?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor. So I do have the definition of semi-detached here. That may just help, and then I can go into it more. So it's a residential dwelling that contains 2 residential units that is divided vertically by a wall extending ground to roof and may be divided by a lot line. So for clarity, where residential units are divided by a lot line, no additional units are permitted to be added within the semi. So ultimately, the proposed rezoning would allow for, if he wanted to do 2 units on both sides, he could. But if the applicant decided to do semi-detached dwellings, for example, if he wanted to do one on, let's say, the left lot, and he wanted to split those by a lot line, he could further subdivide down the future. It does then restrict other units within the structure, but there is still the possibility for an accessory dwelling. But if he were to stay with, for example, a 2-unit dwelling, then it could be a 2-unit dwelling and accessory dwelling. The main, I guess, kind of differentiating point is that it's a vertical wall separating the units, and then that you can further subdivide that in the future.
And then just a follow-up, if I could. I see we have a question in the crowd, but could you just explain to me as well what's currently permitted in R1? So I think that's a new thing for the county, right? We've made a lot of changes that do apply to the entire county over the last couple years in an attempt to address the housing shortage. So if you could just briefly, I think would be helpful for everyone to just understand, in R1, what is currently permitted. I know you've talked about it, but to understand that what is allowed currently across the county in most residential zones.
Yeah, so again, Mr. Mayor, through you to council. So currently in the residential 1-unit R1 zone, you can have a 1-unit dwelling, 2 secondary suites, and an accessory dwelling. So secondary suites are subject to different kind of building code regulations, but they can be within that 1 main dwelling. So I guess picture 3 units within 1 structure. The accessory dwelling is going to be a separate structure subject to the requirements of an accessory dwelling, and again, separate building code requirements. So often with these rezonings, it's because you have those kind of requirements to have separate structures or 3-in-1 structure with the extra one in its own building. And so the often rezonings just want all the structures within 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lutz. Councillor Peckford.
Thank you. Through you, I think Councillor Lutz kind of asked most of my questions,
Okay.
but really just to sum it up again, it's really a build form that we're looking at changing, not a density change in terms of number of units. So number of hypothetical people that may occupy these units is not significantly changing. It's potentially just the number of roofs, because instead of having a single unit with 2 attached in-law suites, let's say, and another building in the back, we could see it all in 1. So we're not really seeing a big change in traffic going to the community or in number of driveways. It's just we're changing that so that we can condense this entire project potentially. We can't hold anybody to it, I understand that, but we're potentially seeing smaller footprint on the lot because we're not trying to spread out. If the developer wanted to have the same number of units, he can put it all together so there's less impact on the community. Thank you. I don't know if that was a really question, but I was trying to clarify it for myself more than anything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, through you to council, just a couple comments. So yeah, exactly. So part of the reason we don't request a site plan is, as mentioned with the resolution map, both properties are then eligible for the uses permitted in that zone. So technically he could do the types of units, he could change it down the road, the applicant, sorry. And yes, there's no proposal to do a higher density. It would be the same number of units permitted in the end, and I'm not sure if Laura has anything to add there.
No, I guess not. Okay, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Councillor Peckford. Councillor Sappington.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. So whether it's an R1 or an R2, both types of properties could be rentals because we're talking about main dwelling and a secondary dwelling, if that was what was going to be with the R1 zoning, correct?
Mr. Mayor, through you to council, yes, that's correct, because we don't, in our reviews, we don't regulate who's renting or owning, but yes, they could be rentals.
So it isn't a matter of one being rental and one not. And then also I was wondering in regards to height requirements, because that was brought up.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you to council. So the height requirements do not change between the proposed rezoning. So for a main building, the maximum height remains at 35 feet.
Or
Pardon?
either or is the same height requirement.
Correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Gates.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Just a matter of clarification, and maybe it's a question for Laura. Would the setback requirements be the same for both R1 and R2?
Melissa, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through to council. So I have the setbacks here. So for a main building, the minimum front setback is 20 feet in the R1 zone, so that current zoning. And I do believe it is the same. So the main front back for a main dwelling in the R2 proposed zone, is 20 feet as well. For a main building, the proposed side setback remains at 4 feet as well, and the main rear setback remains at 20 feet. So it is the same between the R1 zone and the proposed R2 zone. And again, if Laura has anything to add.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't see any other councillors' lights on. So at this time, I am going to declare that this meeting is now adjourned, but I will say that there's still several meetings yet put forward where there is still opportunity and to contact our planning department. Correct? No? Okay. All right. I stand corrected then. Laura?
Through to you, Mr. Mayor, second reading is set to occur tonight.
Okay. So I guess I apologize for that. Okay. All right. So we're going to declare this public hearing, and we will be discussing this again tonight at our later on in our council meeting. So that meeting is now adjourned, and we're moving on to our municipal council meeting. And again, I would declare the meeting of Tuesday, September the 1st, 2026, that all members of council are here and in existence. And I will now read the land acknowledgement. The municipality of the County of Kings is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral, unceded, and current territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. The municipality of the County of Kings is a neighbor to Annapolis Valley First Nation and Glooscap First Nation, as well as a diverse urban and rural indigenous population. We are all treaty people and commit to upholding the peace and friendship treaties and working towards reconciliation in all areas of the municipality. We have a motion or agenda in front of you, council. Is there any additions to the agenda? No? Could we have a mover to approve the agenda, please? Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Harding. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried, thank you. At this time, is there any member of council that would like to declare a conflict of interest on any of the related items on the agenda this evening? No? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of July 2026. Is there any errors or omissions in the minutes of July 7th, 2026? Okay, can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor McPherson, second by Councillor Gates. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried, thank you. Now we've got July 21st, 2026 special council meeting. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that, the minutes of July 21st? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve them, please? Moved by Councillor Lutz, second by Councillor Hiltz. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Thank you. Business arising. Is there any business arising from the July 7th minutes? No? Okay. We'll move on to July 21st, 2026 special council meeting. Is there any business arising from that meeting? No? Okay. We'll move on to number 6. Planning Advisory Committee recommendations. Councillor Lutz will be reading the recommendations as Chair of PAC. The first one, 6A, is application to rezone 2 properties in Greenwood from R1 to R2. Councillor Lutz. There we go.
Thank you, Mayor. The motion reads, the Municipal Council gives second reading regarding the application to rezone 2 vacant parcels located on Mayhew Drive, PIDs 55552772 and 55552780 Greenwood, from the residential 1 unit R1 zone to the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone to permit the development of semi-detached dwellings as described in Appendix C of the report dated June 9th, 2026. I so move.
Okay. Second by Councillor Best. Any further discussion? Councillor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, I would like to just acknowledge something you said earlier about the respectfulness of the comments that we received earlier this evening from the residents of Mayhew Drive. And I fully appreciate the time that it takes to drive out to Colebrook, especially from Greenwood, and state your case on behalf of your neighborhood. So I appreciate those people coming out. I think we are faced with a difficult choice in one of these situations, because oftentimes it comes down to understanding the difference between what you have and what you're going to get, and sometimes the difference is smaller than it appears when we present it. And I think that can be really difficult to wrap your head around, and particularly when it comes to things like density and built form and all those different kinds of terms that are not accessible to the public, and half the time not even accessible to us. So I really appreciate that the attempt to try to bridge that understanding from staff and from council and from the public. So ultimately, I think staff made a good case tonight. I'll be voting in favor of this application to rezone. And for all the reasons I think we talked about in the public hearing, that I think it doesn't change things too much, and allows a condensement of the actual development itself. So I'll be voting in favor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lutz, and I concur with what you said about the public. And I also, I think the staff did a good job, but I like to recognize Councillor Peckford, because I think he explained it very well. A lot of times there's not that much difference between R1 and R2 as far as number of units and number of people, and sometimes people don't realize that. Anyway, I don't see any other lights on, so all those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. We'll go on to number 6B, application to rezone a property located in the Minas from R3 to R4. Councillor Lutz.
Thanks, Mayor. The motion reads that Municipal Council give first reading to and hold a public hearing regarding the application to rezone a vacant property located on Commercial Street, PID 55210884, New Minas, from the residential mixed density R3 zone to the residential multi-unit R4 zone, as described in Appendix C of the report dated July 14th, 2026. I so move.
Okay, thank you. Second by Councillor Gates. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. Item 6C, application to rezone a portion of property in the Minas from R4 to L1? I1? Okay, I1. And so, Councillor Lutz.
Thanks, Mayor. The motion reads that Municipal Council give first reading to and hold a public hearing regarding the application to rezone the portion of 130 Cornwallis Ave, PID 55206247, New Minas, zoned residential multi-unit R4 to the institutional I1 zone, as described in Appendix D of the report dated July 14th, 2026. I so move.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Allen. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Lutz. And your next public hearing is?
Tuesday, October 6th, 2026, here in these chambers at 6 p.m.
Okay, thanks again. All right, now we'll move on to administration. And we have a proclamation request for September and for October 2026. Grayson Parker, our diversity specialist, will presenting actually 3 motions. You're doing it from there, Grayson? Or the podium? Just trying to shake me up, aren't you?
Just for fun. Good evening, Mayor Corkum and Council. I'm here tonight to present a proclamation request for the months of September and October. The origin of these requests is from the Strategy for Belonging and Proclamations Policy COM-02-003. My intent this evening is to present Proclamation's request to Municipal Council in accordance with the municipality's proclamation policy. The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is observed on September 30th to honor children who have never returned home from residential schools, survivors, and their families and communities. This federal statutory holiday was established in 2021 in response to Call to Action 80 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It grew out of Orange Shirt Day and the grassroots movement started by residential school survivor Phyllis Webstead. This proclamation supports the municipality's commitment to truth and reconciliation and encourages residents to reflect on the ongoing impacts of the residential school system. Next, we have Treaty Day that is observed on October 1st and commemorates the peace and friendship treaties signed between the Mi'kmaq and British Crown over 300 years ago. First proclaimed in Nova Scotia in 1986, this day marks a relationship built on mutual recognition and respect rather than the surrender of land and title. On June 4th of this year, there was a 300th anniversary celebration on the same land that the original treaty was signed at Fort Anne and Annapolis Royal. The diversity team was happy to be able to attend. By supporting this proclamation, the municipality acknowledges that Kings County sits on unceded Mi'kmaq territory and reaffirms the treaty relationships that still hold significance today. Sorry, I was wrong on the slides there. So our final one is Mi'kmaq History Month, which takes place throughout the month of October, following Treaty Day with a month-long celebration since 1993. It celebrates Mi'kmaq culture, language, and contributions past and present, and invites communities across Nova Scotia to learn more about Mi'kmaq history and living culture. The municipality celebrates Mi'kmaq History Month as an opportunity to deepen understanding of Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and affirms its commitment to celebration of cultural diversity. There are no financial implications for this decision. This request aligns with the Strong Communities pillar of the strategic plan, aligning with the strategy for belonging. Alternatively, Municipal Council may choose not to adopt some or all of these proclamations. For implementation, we will publish the proclamations on the municipality's website and/or social media platforms. And for engagement, there will be community events and social media awareness building around all approved proclamations. For example, there will be a Truth and Reconciliation Day pop-up on September 30th from 1 to 3 in council chambers. And on October 2nd, we will hold the Mi'kmaq Art Exhibition opening and celebration of Mi'kmaq History Month from 6 to 8 p.m. With that, the recommendations are that Municipal Council proclaim September 30th, 2026 as National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in the municipality of the County of Kings, that Municipal Council proclaim October 1st, 2026 as Treaty Day in the municipality of the County of Kings, and that Municipal Council proclaim October 2026 as Mi'kmaq History Month in the municipality of the County of Kings.
Okay, thank you, Grayson. Any questions to Grayson before we go to the recommendations? No? Would somebody like to move the first one, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor McPherson, second by Councillor Best. Any further comments? All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. We have the second recommendation that Municipal Council proclaim October 1st, 2026 as Treaty Day in the municipality of the County of Kings. We have a mover moved by Councillor Lutz, second by Councillor Allen. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. And the third recommendation that Municipal Council proclaim October 2026 as Mi'kmaq History Month in the municipality of the County of Kings. Moved by Deputy Mayor McPherson, second by Councillor Harding. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Grayson. All right, now we'll move on to INMC Corridor of Incubators Agreement. Christine Spur, our Business Development Analyst, will be presenting. Welcome, Christine.
Myself all set up here. I'm a little taller than Grayson, especially in my boots. Yes, good evening, Council. I am here tonight with a request for decision regarding the International Network of Michelin Cities Corridor of Incubators Agreement. So this evening's presentation has two objectives. The first is to provide council with background information on the International Network of Michelin Cities and the Corridor of Incubators initiative, which is being introduced to council for the first time. The second is to seek council authorization for the municipality to become a signatory to the 2026 Reciprocal Agreement for the Corridor of Incubators. That is a mouthful. So the International Network of Michelin Cities was founded in Clermont-Ferrand, France in 2017. That is the home of Michelin. It currently includes 21 member cities across 13 countries in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia. While membership has evolved over time, the network has maintained a stable membership base of approximately 20 communities in recent years. The network provides opportunities for member communities to collaborate through working groups, collaborative projects, and knowledge sharing focused on innovation, mobility, sustainability, research, culture, and social development. So the municipality has been involved with the INMC since the network was founded in 2017. Previous participation has included attendance at INMC General Assemblies and conferences, with representatives from the region participating in events held in 2017, 2019, 2022, and 2024, as well as network opportunities, including involvement in water sustainability discussions and initiatives. More recently, the municipality's participation has shifted towards active involvement in the Mobility Lab and the Corridor of Incubators initiatives. Both the Mobility Lab and the Corridor of Incubators were established as part of the work surrounding the 2024 conference. The Mobility Lab is a forum for collaboration and knowledge sharing on transportation-related issues and remains in the early stages of formalization. Current discussions focus on topics such as public transportation, active transportation, and accessibility. The municipality's primary area of involvement in the INMC today, however, and the focus of this presentation, is the Corridor of Incubators initiative. So the Corridor of Incubators was initiated in 2023 by 3 founding members of the International Network of Michelin Cities. Interest in the concept grew quickly, and participation expanded to 7 members after the 2024 conference. Over the following 2 years, the participating members worked together to develop the structure, governance framework, and reciprocal support model that forms the basis of the initiative today. During this period, the members recognized that entrepreneurship support often occurs through organizations such as business incubators, accelerators, post-secondary institutions, and business support organizations rather than through municipalities alone. As a result, the General Assembly agreed to create an associate member category in 2025 to allow those organizations to participate directly in this initiative. And there are currently 3 associate members of the INMC. So the Corridor of Incubators was established to support startups and early stage businesses who are pursuing international growth opportunities. The purpose of the corridor is to accelerate market entry, connect entrepreneurs with organizations that can provide support and guidance, and ultimately support business growth and expansion. For the purposes of this initiative, a startup is generally defined as a company that is less than 8 years old, has an innovative technology or value proposition, has demonstrated a proof of concept or a minimum viable product, and is actively pursuing growth opportunities. So how does the corridor actually work? So the participants of the corridor, in the course of their day-to-day startup incubation and business support activities, may identify startups that are looking to grow internationally and that may be a good fit for this initiative. That home organization would then reach out to the potential host organization to gauge their interest in working with the startup. As part of that process, a virtual needs assessment would be held with the startup at both the home and the potential host organizations to determine if that market and the resources available would be a good fit. Depending on the outcome of the needs assessment, the startup may choose to visit that target market in person. If so, the host organization would work with the startup to best utilize their time in market by providing soft landing support. This could include facilitating introductions to relevant local contacts and resources, arranging for opportunities to network with local businesses, and providing information on the local market. The host organization would help identify temporary workspace if needed, but all costs associated with the startup's time in market would be at their own expense. Importantly, the participating organizations are not required to provide all of the services themselves. They are free to use local partners to provide some or all of the services under the agreement. For Kings, it is envisioned that we would work with our local economic development and business support partners to provide these services, just as we do for any business that is looking to do business in Kings. And that's really the key point. Participation in the corridor of incubators isn't about creating a new program or delivering new services. The corridor is primarily a referral pathway connecting startups with resources and supports that already exist. So one of the other ways that the corridor of incubators supports startups is through an international pitch competition. The competition provides an opportunity for innovative startups pursuing international growth to pitch their businesses to an international audience and build connections with potential partners in other jurisdictions. Top finishers also receive a small cash prize from the International Network of Michelin Cities. The first competition was held at the 2024 INMC conference. It featured 14 companies from 8 member cities. The competition will be held again at the upcoming 2026 conference, and in January, an invitation was extended to all INMC member cities to identify startups to represent them in the competition. The municipality of the County of Kings accepted that invitation. So while participation in the INMC is an opportunity that makes Kings unique, we are fortunate to have other INMC members nearby. The town of Bridgewater and the Pictou region, who's represented by the Pictou County Partnership, are also members of the International Network of Michelin Cities and are existing participants in the corridor of incubators. As planning began for the 2026 pitch competition, the Nova Scotia members saw an opportunity to deliver a coordinated approach that would provide a strong Nova Scotia presence at the international competition. This collaborative approach was supported by Ignite Atlantic, which became involved in the INMC through that associate member pathway created in 2025 at Bridgewater's invitation. And Ignite Atlantic also intends to become a signatory to the reciprocal agreement this fall. So the Nova Scotia partners agreed to coordinate their efforts through a series of regional pitch competitions that were held in April of 2026. The goals of these competitions were twofold: to identify startups to represent their respective communities in the 2026 International Pitch Competition, and to introduce the Corridor of Incubators initiative to local businesses and entrepreneurship support organizations. So the regional pitch competitions were held in mid-April, with the Kings County event held on April 15th at the Vower Studios in Wolfville. So in order to attract as many startups as possible and to increase awareness of this event, all 3 pitch competitions expanded their eligibility to their economic regions, as long as the startup could demonstrate a significant connection to the host municipality. So as such, startups located anywhere in the Annapolis Valley, from West Hants to Annapolis County, were invited to participate in the Kings County competition. 6 businesses applied, and 5 participated in the Kings County competition. The judges and attendees heard strong pitches from startups in the nutraceutical, technology, food processing, and manufacturing sectors from across the Annapolis Valley. BioTeam 40, a nutraceutical company located in Windsor, was selected to represent Kings County at the 2026 International Competition. And you will see pictures of both BioTeam 40 and all of the competitors on the screen. So BioTeam 40, to give you a little bit of background, has developed a proprietary layered delivery system, what they call a biological onion, to deliver probiotics, vitamins, minerals, and more directly to the parts of the gut that actually use them, increasing nutrient uptake. So Buy a Team 40 will be joined at the 2026 competition by Petite Riviere Farming Company, representing the town of Bridgewater and the South Shore region, and Micro Garden, or Bramble Hill Farm, which is representing the Pictou region. Interestingly, all three companies operate within the broader life sciences sector, which really highlights the level of innovation that is happening in rural Nova Scotia in that sector. And that creates opportunities to build relationships, explore future growth opportunities through the international network. So this initiative aligns with the economic development priority of the strategic plan. Specifically, it supports the development of economic development partnerships, which is a strategic focus of the municipality's economic development activities. Throughout this presentation, you've heard examples of partnerships at the local, regional, provincial, national, and international levels, all of which are enabled through participation in the Corridor of Incubators initiative. In addition, the corridor provides access to an international business support network that could support local startups and entrepreneurs pursuing growth opportunities outside of Kings County, while also creating opportunities to showcase the innovation and entrepreneurship taking place in Kings County and the broader Annapolis Valley. So should Council approve the recommendation this evening, the municipality would become a signatory to the 2026 reciprocal agreement at the upcoming International Network of Michelin Cities Conference in October. The current plan is for the signing to occur publicly as part of the conference program, alongside the other participating organizations, although the specific details are still being finalized. As discussed earlier, participation would be an extension of current business support activities and would be delivered through existing staff resources and partnerships. The municipality's role would be to coordinate support, act as the primary point of contact, and facilitate connections to appropriate local partners and resources. And that concludes my presentation. I'll leave the recommendation on the screen, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. One quick question I have, if we continue to participate in this, Christine, do you see that as Michelin appreciating that the municipality of the County of Kings appreciates having Michelin here?
Yep, to you, Mr. Mayor. So Michelin is not formally affiliated with the International Network of Michelin Cities. They have been very gracious in allowing the network to use their name, as it is trademarked. Now, that being said, Michelin has supported various initiatives in the past. That water sustainability one I mentioned earlier was one that Michelin supported. So there is opportunity for collaboration with Michelin, even though they're not formally associated with the network.
I see. Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions to Christine before we go to the recommendation? No? Okay. The recommendation is that Municipal Council authorize the municipality of the County of Kings to become a signatory to the 2026 reciprocal agreement for the Corridor of Incubators of the International Network of Michelin Cities. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Harding. Is there any further discussion or questions on this? My one question would be cost related, Christine. Is there approximate cost related to this?
Yep. To you, Mr. Mayor. So as part of our membership of the Michelin Cities, we do pay an annual fee, or membership dues, I guess. It's approximately $1,500 Canadian. But that is already accounted for in our budgets and has been going on for several years. Outside of this is the Corridor of Incubators. It's expected to just be delivered alongside our current business support services, so there would be no additional cost with it.
Okay, $1,500. Okay. All right. I guess we'll, no other questions. We'll move on to all those in favor or against. Please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. She took off before I could even thank her. All right. We'll move on to now our next item on 7C is the Regional Recreation Facility MOU Agreement. And our CAO, Mr. Scott Conrad, will be presenting. Mr. Conrad, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. The intent of this presentation here is for you folks to consider an amendment to an agreement that you authorized in February of this year, referred to as the Regional Recreation Facility Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. And the intent is to enable the continuation of the current deputy mayors on this regional steering committee. So as a bit of background, on February 25th, the participating municipal units, which would be the towns of Kentville and Wolfville and the municipality, together with the Kings County Recreation Forward Society, executed an MOU. And that MOU established key aspects of the project without limitation, how we would cost share on capital and operating cost if it came to be built, the main components of the facility, and also the future incorporation aspects of a regional recreation facility. So one specific provision that I've taken out of that MOU for your consideration here this evening is number 7, and it states that prior to the incorporation of an intermunicipal services agreement, to establish a steering committee comprising the mayors, deputy mayors, and CAOs. So as I believe council is well aware that you can incorporate a body corporate under the Municipal Government Act, and to ramp up for those types of recommendations, that type of incorporation, there was a steering committee struck with members of the 3 participating municipal units. Section 9 of the MOU outlines the key next steps, including the engagement of an owner's engineer, the refinement of capital cost estimates, and development of board of directors structure for for that future body corporate that I just referred to. Those steps are currently ongoing, and on August 4th, I know there's a briefing in your package coming up, a report from this committee. So at a very high level here on August 4th, that steering committee did meet, and they recommended that the 3 councils consider amending the MOU. So the amendment would be to allow the current deputy mayors, to remain on the steering committee, provided they retain their elected councillor status. The steering committee believes this continuity would be the most efficient means of finishing the incorporation and project recommendations. So they feel, I guess if I could characterize a bit in midstream, that they're developing a series of recommendations on how to incorporate, what that would look like, to come back to the 3 municipal councils, and they're not quite there yet. So instead of rotating the deputy mayors out, their notion was to continue on with the present deputy mayors, subject to them retaining their municipal elected status. And as we said here, that the steering committee is to be replaced by the board of directors of a new body corporate once the incorporation provisions of that body corporate have been approved by the 3 councils. So of course those bylaws have to come back for your consideration. There are no financial implications associated with the amendment to the MOU. The alternative is that the participating municipal units, so the 3 councils, you could continue status quo and rotate out any deputy mayor that is replaced this fall, presumably, or that would be the alternative. So the implementation, if you're to accept the recommendation, this has to be approved by all 3 municipal councils, and the amendment to the MOU would be executed by authorized officials of the 3 participating municipal units. The recommendation is that municipal council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute an amendment to the February 25th, 2026 Regional Recreation Facility MOU that enables the present-day deputy mayors of the participating municipal units continued participation on the related steering committee in the event they no longer hold the office of the deputy mayor, but retain the office of a municipal councillor on their respective municipal council.
Thank you, Mr. CAO. February 25th, by the way, is my birthday, in case anybody's interested. Just saying. So any questions to the CAO on the report? Councillor Best.
Thank you, through you, Mayor, to Scott. So we made an agreement when we first started in here that we'll have 4 deputy mayors. And so whoever the next deputy mayor will be on this committee?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Best. So you're referring to the current council here in the municipality
This one only.
has made a commitment. I'm looking to the clerk. Is that an accurate? I believe it is, but I'm not 100%. So there's going to be 4 deputy mayors in the term of this present council?
Correct.
So the current Deputy Mayor McPherson, was appointed for 1 year, and so the next 2 years of the term of this council, each of those 2 years, there will be an election for Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so it's correct. Excuse me, I just wasn't 100%.
Yeah. So whoever comes up in November, the new deputy, will be on this committee.
That's under the status quo. The committee members themselves recommended where they're midstream in developing their recommendations to come back to the 3 councils, that the present day deputy mayors remain on the committee.
Well, I will not be voting for this because I think the
Whoa,
deputy.
whoa, 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 whoa. You don't debate with the.
I'm not
with the-
debating.
Yes, you are. You're asking them questions, and when you get to the point if somebody makes this motion,
Okay.
that's the time to do the debate on whether you're for
I'll come
or
back
against.
and mention it.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Counselor. Okay, who's flashing here? Counselor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. So for our county, it would be Deputy Mayor McPherson. Who are the other deputy mayors? I'm not up on the news.
Jen
Just
is in Wolfville. Jen
Ingram?
Ingram, and Deborah Kroll.
Okay.
But I think Kentville is the same as us, are going to vote every year. So
But Debbie, should the motion go forward, Debbie and Jen would remain on the committee?
Correct.
With Everett, okay.
Yeah.
The counselors, of course, sorry.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Peckford.
Thank you. Through you, who are the members on this committee right now? Is it all mayors and deputy mayors and CAOs only from all the 3 partners?
That's correct.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Just wasn't sure if it was including some counselors as well, or just that, so.
No, it's just as you indicated, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, it's as you indicate, it's the mayors and deputy mayors.
Right. And do you know what the terms are of the other deputy mayors? Are they all yearly? Are they every 2 years, or the entire term of their time at council?
I believe, Mr. Mayor, that's what you were just referring to, that it's our understanding?
I'm not sure, but it really, if this passes or not, it really doesn't matter. That's basically, so let's say Wolf will decide to keep their deputy mayor for 4 years. Well, then that wouldn't have any effect on this here for them. But Kentville, for example, might vote every year like we do, and which you then have the possibility of your deputy mayor changing. Yeah.
Just one follow-up, if I might.
Sure. Yep.
I was just mostly curious with that, through you, sorry, just to know, out of that entire committee, how many people are going to change potentially this year, or if Wolfville and Kentville were longer terms, if this is only really affecting us, or if it might be because we are every year. I was just curious if we are the only ones who are going to see a potential change in deputy mayors, as we had stated earlier, we are voting every year, or if the other municipalities are going to have the same members potentially for longer. That's, I guess, why I was looking at
It has the potential that half the committee could change.
Okay, so they are also on shorter terms.
Yeah, it has the potential for that.
Yeah. To be as transparent as I can through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, I'm only going by an impression at the meeting, and the mover and seconder were the 2 towns. Yeah. And from the discussion, it would be my belief that everyone would may be subject to change.
Okay, so it's potentially an entire
But that's my assumption on that,
Okay.
yeah. That's
Right.
certainly what I picked up from the tone of that meeting.
Yeah, okay, no, that helps. Thank you.
Councillor Best.
Thank you. Through you to Scott, on this committee, when they meet here, is there just Kentville, Wolfville, and the County Kings on this committee?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
So no public is on this committee?
Not at this time, no. So each of the, as is happening this evening, each of the members report back to their respective council in public session.
So there's only going to be 6 people in charge of this big project, I take it?
Well, the steering committee is drafting recommendations on what the incorporated body will look like, and that could be entirely different than the membership of the steering committee.
So you think there'd be a lot more on this committee than just the 6, I expect?
It may be, but that's what's being worked on now. One of the components being worked on now.
Thank you.
In fact, and I just make a quick comment, Councillor Best, one of the recommendations that I've brought forward to bringing forward to the steering committee, that we approach First Nations to be involved. Okay, we have a recommendation that Municipal Council authorize the mayor and the CAO to execute an agreement to the February 25th, 2026 Regional Recreation Facility Memorandum of Understanding that enables the present-day deputy mayors of the participating municipal units continue participation in the related steering committee in the event they no longer hold office of deputy mayor, but retain the office of municipal councillor on their municipal council. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Sappington, second by Councillor Lutz. Any further discussion? Councillor Best.
Thank you. How many meetings have you had since this started 2 years ago?
Mr. Mayor, through you to the council, I believe there have been 3 meetings to date.
At any of those meetings, Councillor Peckford, were you involved with this as deputy, when you were a deputy? No? So it's just been since Deputy McPherson started, he's on that. Nothing against Deputy McPherson, but I feel that if you're going to be a deputy, you should be involved with this big time, in my opinion. And there's only been 3 meetings. You haven't got nothing set in stone on the committee, or the public's on the committee. I think that we should allow who's ever the deputy next year, starting in November, to be on this committee. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. I'll speak in favor and be voting in favor of it. It was brought forward by Kentville and Wolfville, and for continuity, and that's I think that's important. This could be the single biggest project that the municipalities do together, and I think it's important that that we keep it together that way. So anyway, Councillor Lutz.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Through you, I would just agree with you and say the continuity, but also I would hate to see this project slowed down any, and I think every time we stop and start and have to get people up to speed on conversations, there's so much knowledge that these people already have. I'm happy to see them continue, but I am also really looking forward to seeing what the next committee looks like. It's not the steering committee, this is the steering committee. This is like the pre-committee for the IMSA committee, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And if there's a way for us to provide input through the deputy mayor, but how we would like to see that committee formed and what our sort of group as a council would like to see that look like, that'd be great to be able to provide that input. Thank you.
Councillor Best.
Just a quick note. Do we own this piece of land yet?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, we have not taken title. There's still closing conditions.
So it's been 1.5 years trying to get a piece of land, I would say. So what happens if we don't get this piece of land? Then what happens? So why would we put all this effort into till we got the land? In my opinion, we need the piece of land before we can start deciding what we're gonna put on this piece of land, in my opinion. So do you think the committee should just hold off until we find the land? We might have to buy another piece of land somewhere. It's not 100% sure that this land is gonna belong to the municipal of the County of Kings. Is that a fair statement?
Mr. Mayor, through you to the councillor, we don't own the land, but we have an agreement of purchase and sale, and we're working through the technicalities of closing it as quickly as we can. So it involves 2 closing conditions that are probably 3/4 of the way through.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to vote. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. All right, we'll move on now to number 7D. 2026-2027 Nova Scotia Cost Share Agreement number 2026-007, and also CAO Conrad will be presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The intent of this presentation is to seek your authorization to execute what I'm referring to here as a second and companion agreement to the 2026-27 fiscal year of the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works and the Municipalities Agreement, which is labeled 2023014. So what does all that mean? You'll recall in the past that we have a 3-year agreement with the province to do up to 10 roads a year that are labeled or classified as J-class roads. There are a few other alphabet soup in there. There's a couple of G's and H, but they're primarily subdivision scale roads. So in this particular year, on April 21st, you were advised of the ongoing contract discussions with that, the current year of that 3-year agreement. And discussions included paving the village of Canning that had been approved in prior years but not approved for the current year of the 2023-14 agreement. So on April 1, Council approved a transfer of $570,000 from our J-Class Road Reserve to cover the municipality's estimated share of paving. The funding was intended for 6 roads in total under the 2023-14 agreement. So our ranking, what these priorities mean, it was the list that was presented to you last year was Chapel Road was number 2, Cavell Avenue was number 1, Cavell Avenue number 2, Cavell Terrace number 3, Pinewood Avenue number 5, Edith priority number 6, and Polaris priority number 8. I can editorialize here a bit. It's a very difficult position for the province. There's not a lot of money in this particular envelope, and it really goes by linear distance. So when we put in priority 1, 2, 3, those kilometers may not match up with what the province has to work with. So that's why sometimes there's a bit of shifting around with priorities. So in this particular year, you'll remember that although Chapel and the 2 Cavells had been approved in 2 prior years, those particular measurements didn't really line up with the money available in the provincial budget this year, and they ranked others. So on April 1, you authorized myself to negotiate with the Department of Public Works regarding the paving at Chapel Road, Cavell, and Cavell Terrace. You gave me that additional money through the transfer from the reserve, and the negotiations included substituting some or all roads identified in the current fiscal year. So basically, I've had a series of meetings, face-to-face and Teams meetings, with senior officials from the department, the provincial engineer, for example, and we've negotiated something here for your consideration this evening in this companion agreement 007 that would hopefully do all 6 roads. So the 3 that were identified and you previously approved, and the 3 in Canning. So the negotiations have concluded, as I said. The next step here is the Department of Public Works will issue a procurement event for all 6 roads. including the 3 Canning roads. So if you've been over to Canning lately, the first lift of asphalt is on Chapel, but not the second lift. It needs a second lift. And the current project estimates indicate that provincial and municipal funding should be sufficient to pave all 6 roads. Should be. If procurement exceeds the available budget, agreement for 26007 would allow the municipality to prioritize the Canning roads. So with based on your instruction in April, the agreement that's in draft form says if the budget's available, we do all 6. If the budget's not available, Canning roads would be prioritized given their present construction. As we say here in the second bullet, this prioritization reflects the unfinished construction of Chapel Road and the efficiencies of completing Cavell Avenue and Cavell Terrace while paving equipment is on site. So we're not floating equipment on and off site. Everything is in that neighborhood there. It would be more efficient to do it at this time. Should the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works procurement events come in on budget, the cost to the municipality would not exceed the present year budget and transfer authorized by Municipal Council. Should the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works procurement events come in over budget, a subsequent approval would be sought from Municipal Council to do another contract amendment to 2026-07. There are no recommended alternatives as this RFD is following the April 21, 2026 of Municipal Council. So April 21, you said, here's a little bit more money, or actually quite a bit more money. Go negotiate. We think the province came back to the table with more money that they found from another pot. So we're thinking that the 2 halves together should be enough budget to do all 6 roads, subject to this procurement event. So if you so choose here this evening, Nova Scotia Department of Public Works will issue the procurement events, assuming bids come in at or under budget. Paving occurs later this fall. The villages were asked to provide input on the 26-27 priority list, and comments were considered in compiling the list presented to Council in October of 2025. So the recommendation is that Municipal Council authorize the Mayor and CAO to execute cost share agreement 2026-007 with the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works as outlined in this request for decision.
Okay, any questions to the CAO? Councillor Best.
What roads, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Scott, what roads did the province of Nova Scotia recommend?
Sure, why don't I go back? So excuse me, Mr. Mayor, through you to Councillor Best, the roads that came in this year were Pinewood, Edith, and Polaris, and they were primarily driven by the length of those roads. So again, we negotiated, both brought more money to the table. In October, the surface condition that the municipality has put forward was Chapel, Cavell, and Cavell.
So what do we recommend to do the 3 that the province does and maybe 1 in Canning, if we have enough money? Just a question. Or do you think, when are you gonna know, why wouldn't you bring this up till you had exactly if the province is gonna do all 6 instead of doing it here tonight?
That's a good question. So through you, Mr. Mayor, again, I don't have the authority to sign the agreement.
I know that.
I only had the authority to negotiate. So I'm here seeking your authority to sign the agreement. Once it's signed, they go to tender. Based on their engineering estimates from working all around the province, we think there's enough money there to do 6. If there's not, my understanding is Council's instruction are to prioritize the ones that were prioritized 2 and 3 years ago with Chapel, Cavell, and Cavell. But we're doing our best to try to get all 6 done.
I understand that, and hopefully we can get all 6. But
Yes.
what I'm saying is, when do you think you'll know? Here it is, the 1st September.
I think their procurement's probably only 2 or 3 weeks. These are short calls, so that there's not a lot of time.
So it's hard, in my opinion, for me, it's hard to vote on something that you don't have a clue what we're doing yet. So we're gonna vote on this policy, and if the province doesn't come through, we might only be able to do 5 roads, or 4 roads, or 3 roads.
I guess the answer to your question, we'll never know unless you authorize me to sign the agreement, and that's what I'm seeking here tonight.
You know, the only way you're gonna sign it, in my opinion, if it comes in under the budget we want.
No, I have to sign the agreement which authorizes them to go to tender. It's not to
Oh, it's not even
award.
tender yet.
It's not tendered yet, no. So this is, we have to sign 007
Thank
to
you.
tell them that we're going to tender.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Gates.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, that's good, thank you.
Question. I would just,
Well, if that answer your question. Okay, that's good.
This is strictly the J-class program. Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll move on then to the motion. And can you bring the motion back up, Mr. CAO? That Municipal Council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute the cost-sharing agreement number 2026-007 with Nova Scotia Department of Public Works as outlined in the September 1st, 2026 request for a decision. Do I have a mover? Moved by Deputy Mayor McPherson, second by Councillor Allen. Any further discussion? Deputy Mayor McPherson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, evidently this is not an easy process, and I think it's not an easy process because the budget for this is low. And I suspect, similar to my colleagues, the majority of calls that I received over the past 6 months were pertaining to road conditions, understanding clearly that the majority of those roads are a provincial jurisdiction and not a municipal jurisdiction, but most people don't understand the difference. All they know is that the roads are really bad, there's a lot of potholes, and someone needs to fix them. And it's probably easy to get a hold of the district councillor because you're closer to the people. I guess my question is there any room going forward through negotiation with the province to look at putting more priority into this and maybe increasing what the CAO described as a rather small budget? Thank you.
Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the Deputy Mayor, last year the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and the province through the Nova Scotia Department of Public Works have formed a joint committee to look at this program. I serve on that committee, so we'll be bringing forward, hopefully this fall, a set of recommendations to government and the rural municipalities involved.
Good question. Okay, we have a motion in front of you, Council. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Hopefully we get all 6. Motion carried. Okay. We'll now move on to Engineering and Public Works. 8A, Policy Update EPW-04-015 Active Transportation Network Project Prioritization. And we have a motion, proposed motion that Municipal Council rename and amend Policy EPW-04-015 Active Transportation Project Prioritization to Policy EPW-04-015 Active Transportation Network Project Prioritization as attached to September 1st, 2026 agenda. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Hiltz. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. I mean, vote accordingly. Every once in a while I go back in time, don't I? Huh? I used to have a full head of hair then. Motion carried. All right, now the next one, that 8B, that municipal council provides 7 days notice per S 48-1 or Municipal Government Act to repeal policy EPW-04-014 sidewalk construction project prioritization as attached to the September 1st, 2026 agenda. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councilor Gates, second by Councilor Lutz. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is engineering and public works. No, I'm sorry. We got that. Financial services, to bylaw 74, a motion to give second reading. Municipal council to give second reading to amendment bylaw 74, the treasurer bylaw, as attached to September 1st, 2026 agenda. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councilor Harding, second by Councilor Lutz. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please, those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Okay, number 10, planning inspections, amendment to bylaw 90, vendors. That municipal council gives second reading to the amendment bylaw 90, the vendors bylaw, as attached to September 1st, 2026 agenda. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Councilor Sappington, second by Councilor Lutz. Any further discussion? All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. All right, at this time, we've been at this quite a while. I'm going to call a 10-minute recess. number 11 on the agenda is our nominating committee recommendation, July 21st, 2026. Citizen appointments to the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee. And that the Municipal Council reappoint Alan Price and appoint Andrea Potier and Amy Meister as citizen members to the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee effective June 1st, 2026 for a 3-year term ending May 31st, 2029. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Best, second by Councillor Lutz. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Gates, it gets you to put your, okay?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just curious, was Dr. Andy Nettie on that committee?
I have to ask Councillor Sappington, you're the, huh? Oh, that's Councillor Best, I'm sorry. Councillor Best is,
Yes, he's still on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably half a dozen more on it. I think every year there's three ones go back. He was on it the last meeting.
okay. Okay, any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on now to, pardon me, board and committee conference reports. Kings County Homeless Advisory Committee, and this report was submitted by Deputy Mayor McPherson. Deputy Mayor, do you have anything to add? No. Okay, does anyone have any questions to the Deputy Mayor on his report? No. Okay, Recreation Facility Steering Committee. Is there any questions to me on this report? Councillor Best.
It's, I just noticed here in the minutes that you're going to hire a fundraising firm to do all your fundraising. Is that correct? It's on the committee. It's on your
Yep.
report.
Yep.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillors, that I believe is the intent of the society, the not-for-profit, not us.
Yeah.
So the society.
Yes.
That's right.
And what does
They're looking to raise, I think, around 9 million.
Yeah, I think in our minutes back a year or so ago, we have to raise, the committee has to raise 9.5 million for the project. Is that true, Mr. CEO?
9.4.
9.4 million. And so what is a fundraising firm? What do they charge to fundraise? They must charge a fee to do all the work. So the committee is going to hire or confirm to do all the fundraising for the 9.4 million.
My understanding is the fundraiser would do part of that work, not all of that work, and the amount that the fundraiser is paid, they're going to tender for those services, so I don't know what that is. The tender is not out yet.
You'll bring that back to us.
That would, I would suspect, would be part of a report. Yeah.
So 9.4 million, if they don't raise that, if they can't raise that in a year or 2 or 5 years, all depends how long it takes, then what happens? I just want the public to know that what happens if they cannot raise 9.5 million?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, 9.4 million.
9.4, sorry.
And in the MOU that I referenced earlier this evening, if they raise more than that, the debt gets lowered. If they raise less than that, it's proportionally shared among the 3 municipalities.
So that means it might cost us a lot more money. So why would they fundraise if the 3 municipalities are going to pick it up? Just a question.
The only answer I can give you, they signed an MOU with that intention to raise that money.
So
And that money, 9.4, is net of any commissions. So that's,
how much money right today are we committed to this recreation project as a county of Kings?
through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, I can't give you you know, I can take that as an undertaking and get it back to you. I do recall that the three councils have approved up to 1.3 million to get to what's referred to as preliminary design.
But I thought we made a commitment so much money from the County of Kings. We didn't?
You are made a commitment to your pro rata share of that 1.3 million to bring it to preliminary design.
So just so I'm clear, all we have right now is 1.3 million we're going to give to this project. Is that, am I hearing that right?
No, you're not.
Okay.
So we would be a percentage of that 1.3 million. The town of Kentville's paying a portion of that. The town of Wolfville's paying a portion of that.
And that's all we're committed to so far.
That's what my recollection is of that, plus the value of the land that's to be purchased.
Right. And we can't say how much we paid for that yet because it's
Not
not
until it's
public
closed and then it
knowledge.
becomes public.
Okay, so it's only 1.3, divide that up by 3, that's Wolfville, Town of Kentville, and Municipal, the County of Kings in.
Just one correction there. It wouldn't be an even 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 because it's based on a funding ratio. Like we're bigger, so we pick up more of the 1.3 million.
Would we pick up half it or
I
we
would
don't
have
know?
to go
Okay.
back. Yeah, that's.
You'll let me know on.
Yeah, that came back.
You can let
like
me know.
6 months. Yes, I
please.
did.
Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, did you have anything else you would like to add? No. Okay, we'll move on to committees of council. Is there any verbal committees of council? Nope. External boards and committees. Are there any external verbal reports from external boards or committees? Councilor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, I don't have a report, but just to note, because the library's been on everyone's mind, our next board meeting is the 17th of September. So it's just a regular board meeting, and it'll be the first one since the announcement of the donation from Rachel Reed, and the first one since the decision was made to go back to the municipality. So we should have all the municipal responses at that point.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Gates.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Kentville Water Commission meeting on July 30th, and I'm just waiting for some follow-up questions to put my written.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else? Councilor Best.
Thank you. Just through you, Mayor, to Councilor Lutz here. Is that open to the public, your meetings?
Yes, they're all open to the public.
And
The
where-
minutes are all posted online, and they're held at the Berwick Town Hall,
And what time?
5:30.
On the 17th.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to receive all reports for information? Moved by Councilor Sappington, second by Councilor Harding. Any further discussion? All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Motion carried. Okay, is there any other business any counselor would like to report coming before council? Councilor Best.
Yes, I just want to give you an update on the pickleball court in Colebrook. It has started, and I'd like to thank Councilor Gates and Councilor Hitz donating some money for blue spruce to make it look beautiful out there at the community. And we're hoping to have a opening mid-October maybe. So the land has started being prepared, and we're gonna they're gonna work hard and hope it's done by middle of October.
That's good. I'll be looking forward to that. Councilor Gates.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering if we will get an update on the Meadowview solar project, maybe where that sits, or when we might expect maybe an update on that. Sorry.
That'll probably come at our next committee of the whole meeting. Yep. Okay. No one else? All right, I got one quick comment I'd like to make. I'm very pleased to say that Councilor Harding and I participated in the East Dalhousie Fun Day. In fact, Councillor Harding participated more than I did. He even was flipping pancakes all morning down there, the breakfast. But after the breakfast, him and I participated in the East Dalhousie Parade. And I officially here to announce that we won first prize in the decorated car contest, didn't we, Tim? What?
I heard there's only one car.
We got a ribbon.
Only one car, don't get excited.
No. We got the ribbon, didn't we, Tim? Yeah.
I was quite surprised.
Okay. We'll move on now to the comments from the public. If there's any member of the public that would like to provide comments, we'd ask you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and I would remind speakers that the comments are to be provided in a civil and respectful manner, and direct your comments to council, and that note that there is a time limit of 2 minutes for each speaker. And turn the mic on. There you go.
Gordon Berry, Morristown. So what I have here is your guys' Municipal Act. I'd just like to read the Code of Conduct. Each municipality shall adopt a Code of Conduct, which you guys have, and this Code of Conduct shall apply to the mayor, warden, councillors, and positions prescribed by the regulations. Complaints regarding alleged breaches of Code of Conduct. Each municipality shall appoint a person or entity other than a council member or an employee of the municipality to receive and investigate complaints regarding alleged breaches of the municipality's Code of Conduct. Now, I was contacted by your lawyer via email that tells me, due to my complaint in the May 6th Police Advisory Board breach of conduct by Councillor Sappington, that the Police Advisory Board considered my complaint at an in-camera meeting yesterday. I'm reading verbatim. The complaint was dismissed by the panel. The police regulations stipulate that if the chair and majority of the Advisory Board determines that an Advisory Board member has breached the Code of Conduct for Advisory Board members, the Advisory Board must record that determination in its minutes. And since the PAB held that a breach of the code did not occur, the minutes will not refer to the complaint. So that's because you guys have left that whole entire situation out of the minutes of the meeting. I would challenge, how can the Police Advisory Board be the ones? They're not independent. On that Police Advisory Board, there's multiple employees of this council. That's not an independent person or entity that's investigating this complaint. Furthermore, as we go into your Code of Conduct, the purpose of this code is to set out the expectations for the behavior of members elected to council in carrying out their functions and making decisions that benefit the constituents of the municipality. If we move on, council members must create and maintain an environment that is respectful and free from all forms of discrimination and harassment. Council members are responsible for the decisions they make and must be held accountable for their actions and outcome. Council members must demonstrate awareness of their own code of conduct and consider how their words or action may be perceived as offensive or demeaning. A council member must show respect for chairs of council meetings, chairs of committee meetings, colleagues, staff, and members of the public that present during council meetings or other meetings of the municipality. I was not shown that respect at all. I didn't come here and I was not screaming and hollering. I was not aggressive. Multiple people have witnessed that. I actually, in good faith, met with you, Mayor, and you, CAO, and that good faith meeting was basically pissed on. And you guys are decided now, this Police Advisory Board, this Police Advisory, no, I'm not done. The Police Advisory Board does not have the authority.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak for, address council for 2 minutes?
Bear with me.
No problem. I got the same problem.
Doesn't get any better with age, does it?
No, it don't. I'd like to tell you it does, but it don't.
Sam Field. I am here to steaden my goal of identifying our involvement with the Sustainable Rural Development Agenda, ISO 37120. I've educated you guys a couple times in our involvement. Our UN ties under the Sustainable Rural Development Area, and I just want to know, are we controlled here as the Municipality of Kings by a foreign entity or the United Nations? David Mitchell, the mayor of Bridgewater, you commended him on the U7 meeting that he just attended in France, stating that he would do a good job representing us. So by representing us as the group of municipalities, I take it, would be identifying our involvement in a United Nations agenda, which is steadfast to carry out global initiatives. And I know we don't want to talk about our involvement and who may be steering some of these policies that we watch go through, but I just want you to know I am aware, and I want to educate you guys just so you don't think the silver lining is pure silver. Because I feel we are under some serious manipulation. We are earmarking money and agendas, priorities that are actually coming from abroad, and they're not natural to Kings municipal counties. So I just I want to let you guys know that there's a bunch of us that are steadfast on identifying where it's coming from and where it's going to go, because our community needs people like me to stand up for what's happening.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. Okay. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to move into a closed session of council. And for the public's benefit, my understanding is that we will not be coming back into regular council meeting. So just to let you know. So if I could get a motion moved by Councillor Allen, second by Deputy Mayor McPherson, that we move into a closed session. All those in favor or against, please vote accordingly. Okay, motion carried. We'd ask that the room be cleared now, as council is into a closed session. Thank everyone for coming, and have a good evening. Ha ha!